Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, but not good night. Let's see the results of walking on waves. Let's begin. Exercise 45. A change which helped her to pursue her hobby. First, she makes reference to the change that was made. Soon after that, we moved to a house which was almost on the beach, and afterwards mentions why it helped her to pursue her hobby. I could literally walk out of the garden into the sea. And then she continues with the same idea. Living by the sea is something you never take for granted if you surf. I open the curtains in the morning and my heart leaps as I see the long, perfect lines of waves rolling into the bay. So the idea is that she made a change. She moved to a house next to the sea, and it helped her to surf because it was much easier to do so. Exercise 49. Her enthusiasm for the sea recognized by someone else. She first makes reference to her enthusiasm. I had an unstoppable appetite for the waves. And afterwards, being recognized by someone else, when it begins in this sentence, it says, we soon both recognize I had it. Who is that other person making reference to we? It's her mom who introduced her to surfing. So, 49, correct answer A. Let's continue section B. Question 46. Continuing to surf even when the conditions were unfavorable. When does it mention that the conditions were unfavorable? Well, it is as the temperatures dropped and the sea was really wild. So she's making reference that it was very cold and there were a lot of wild waves. When it's mentioned here, continuing to surf, it's also pointed out in the text. Not only did she surf during the summer holidays, but also through the winter months. So everything is expressed, so that's why 46B is correct. 51. Not being concerned that she stood out from others. Here I have to pay attention to stood out. Now, when there's a phrasal verb or a word that is not so common, what Cambridge wants you is to get the meaning from the text. So when they do this on purpose, there's going to be more text related to that word in order for you to identify its meaning in the text. In this case, it's from others. Let's go first to not being concerned, which is expressed at the beginning. Being the only girl in the water when I was learning to surf never bothered me because she was always comparing herself to her elder brother. So, not being concerned is connected to never bothered me. Now, after it makes reference that she stood out from others, destacó de otros. Here it's said in a very indirect way, being the only girl in the water, and it's making direct reference afterwards to her elder brother, which is in singular. So it can be confusing if she's being compared to singular or plural in this paragraph. But afterwards, from others becomes more important because it's here where it is compared in plural. So there I was, a tiny little thing, itching to better my surfing by checking out other surfers and looking for new moves. Now there is no doubt that it is correct. She wasn't bothered or she wasn't concerned about standing out because she was used to it. At the beginning, because she was the only girl in the water, and after, because she was the youngest. Let's go to C. 43. feeling satisfaction that her determination resulted in better performance. Her determination resulted in better performance is mentioned here. As she got older, the waves were more challenging, faster, more powerful, more dangerous. But did she give up? No. Through experience, she gained confidence and improved. Where is it mentioned? Feeling satisfaction. And it was really rewarding to see myself improving. So, all the information mentioned in the exercise is mentioned in the text. 43C is correct. 48. Being aware that it would take time for her abilities to be recognized, and it said at the end, convincing them that I could hold my own in the waves wasn't going to happen overnight. Being aware that it would take time, it wasn't going to happen overnight for her abilities to be recognized, convincing them abilities that I could hold my own in the waves. Recognized by who? By the boys, because she is the only girl. So everything is mentioned. That's why 48 is C. Let's go to D. 44. The problem of having to wait for conditions to be favorable for surfing. It said at the end, it can become frustrating since you can never guarantee waves at a certain time on a certain day, and there's a vast amount of hanging around. Why is it frustrating? Because they have to wait for something, and this is expressed here. There's vast amounts of hanging around. For conditions to be favorable for surfing is expressed above because you can never guarantee waves at a certain time on a certain day. So that's why 44D is correct. Let's go to 52. People appreciating her serious attitude towards her surfing. The part of the text mentioning it is the following. They began giving me a bit of credit. If I was going out when the surf was really big, they would shout out instructions to make sure I had the best chance. They knew I wasn't messing around and that I was going for it out there. Let's make sure all the information is there. Her serious attitude towards her surfing is expressed. They knew I wasn't messing about and that I was going for it out there. Who were those people who appreciated it? Well, some friends that she made, and they began to give her a bit of credit. Appreciating is expressed when she's out there surfing in challenging conditions. If I was going out when the surf was really big, then she is being paid attention to by them. They would shout out instructions to make sure I had the best chance. So all the information is expressed in the text. That's why 52D is correct. E. 47. The pleasure she gets from seeing others succeed. It's even better when you get to see their big grins when they stand up for the first time and ride a wave into the shore. Where is pleasure expressed? Well, but it's been fantastic introducing so many people to the sport, and it's even better. So that's where pleasure is described. She gets from seeing others succeed. Well, who are those others? They are her students because now she is a teacher because she has set up a surf school. So It mentions when you get to see their big grins, and here in what they succeed on when they stand up for the first time and ride a wave into the shore. So it makes her really happy seeing her students succeed, standing up for the first time on a board and seeing their reaction. 547 is correct. Everything mentioned is expressed. 50. An admission that she doesn't think about what she's doing when surfing. There is here everything you've been doing instinctively without really noticing. When she surfs, it's pure instinct, but now she's a teacher, so everything that she does instinctively, now she has to explain it in order to teach. All the information is expressed in the text, so 50 is correct. Bye bye.